The year is 2057. A virus has destroyed all living beings, except, what is this? A group of travelers through this wasteland, five Muppets of our choosing. It's almost like it's the apocalypse, and me and Will have chosen five Muppets each to fight the hordes of zombies and figure out the wasteland. And that's the episode. Max and Will fight the apocalypse with Muppets, and we choose them, and they have importance.
That was a hell of an intro. You did not prepare me for that being the intro. 2057 is a little bit too soon
So
for my
not that
liking.
far away. That's why we got to
You,
pick our Muppet Apocalypse members. Welcome back, obviously, to a Muppet moment. You are coming to us on a very special episode. We're not talking about anything like Henson Media related. We're not talking about any of the new news that has hit us with Henson related things. No, we are talking about something very fun and specific that Will poised to me. If you could explain to our silly little audience here.
well, it's quite literally just the stupidest thing ever. I was traveling long haul very recently, from my neck of the woods in England up to Scotland on plane. And just while I was flying, just desperately trying to stop my mind from numbing, like the idea popped into my head of like, oh, if I were stuck in a zombie apocalypse, what like Muppets would I want to have with me? And I thought we could very easily turn that into an episode because, as Max said, we're not doing it about a specific subject or about a specific piece of media. Because what I think is good about us having this podcast and having it in the format we do, where we're just kind of yapping, is because it's always fun to have a specific like focus point or a specific topical focus point to talk about. But this is also just kind of like this is a fun silly for us. This isn't like a job. This isn't like a commitment. We're not here to talk about like finance or like alpha male mentality or like
Yeah,
anything
we're
of
we're not selling any courses on masculinity in regards to the Muppets. So, like, this is
I
a
mean,
much more lighthearted shebang.
it could end up there a year from now, but for now, we're just like, yeah, we just wanted to
For
have a
now.
little lighthearted silliness. And so, as Max's intro incredibly set the scene for,
Whoa.
we are stuck in a Muppocalypse. And so we have posed the hypothetical to ourselves. If you were stuck in a zombie apocalypse, what are the five Muppets that you would want to have accompanying you? And
Because obviously, in something like an apocalypse, the first thing you get is choice. Everything goes
yeah.
wrong, and you definitely, but you get some sort of choice.
Well, we're talking about we're existing in the ideal world where not only are we in a zombie apocalypse, but we are in like a world where there are Muppets.
The
And so
Muppets exist and they are living, breathing creatures as they are, because that's the real world, because that's the world we live in.
it's the world that we live in, it's the world that exists. So what am I talking about? There's no hypothetical there. But
See, with
we're
with something like this, it's really fun for me because, like, yeah, we have a lot of things that we get into on this podcast. Hence, in media, sometimes we get kind of political. We do a broad spectrum of Muppet related things. But part of this podcast that I've been wanting to like explore more is just like us fucking around a little bit. And this is a apocalypse, and we have to figure this out. This is a really important thing
yeah,
that we
this is
got to figure out.
incredibly vital based on something. But no, we just kind of wanted to have a little bit of a sort of a light-hearted jape, just to give you a sense of kind of the shit that goes on in our minds with Muppets, because I think we would do a light-hearted one because our last episode was about the Hoobs of all things, and we still managed to make it a way to be like Jaden Smith, like, oh my God, guys, can we talk about like the socio-economic state of the world right now?
Yeah, leave it to us to go Brian Griffin mode anytime we talk about something lighthearted. Like, leave it to this fucking podcast to have an episode about the Hoobs end up being about like British media and racism and all of these fucking things. Like, Leave it to us.
I don't think it was like obnoxious, but I do think it's good to sort of bring us back to our silly, goofy roots.
You know how to be
So,
silly. Come on.
so the fun thing about this is that I've got my five. I believe
I
Max,
got
you have got your five. We have not consulted each other prior to recording. We have not discussed at all what our fives are. And we've got our
mine.
fives, but what we also did about an hour before we started recording is we put out a call on our story for our Muppet community to get involved and tell us who your five would be. So after we're done judging each other's, we're going to be judging some of yours. Well,
I already love a lot of these submissions. First of all, I love just getting our Muppet community involved when we can into this podcast. But a lot of you, like, there's some really good options. There's some crazy picks in here too. I'm excited to get into it and to
I've
prepare. I have not shaved. I am looking a bit disheveled at the moment, but that was purposeful because we're in the zombie apocalypse. And you think I got zombies to kill? You think I got time to shave?
trying to get a little bit desolate. I respect it.
Well, boom.
I've
That's what you
skimmed over
do.
the submissions mostly because I want to be surprised, but also I don't want their judgment to affect my picks. So,
Mm,
Max, would you like to go first with your first pick, or would you like me to tell you my first pick? Because I think we'll go one at a time. I don't think we'll rattle off like I'll rattle
yeah.
off my five, you rattle off your five. We'll do one, 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 one.
I don't think I could just rattle off all my fives because each one of these has specific reasons. Obviously, this
Hmm.
is a very serious topic that we're talking about here. And I couldn't just skim through each one and be like, this Muppet. It's like, no. When Will posed this question to me, I started thinking about it of like, okay, I'm in the middle of the apocalypse. This is my loadout. This is my group. These are my guys, and like what it would look like. And I don't know if this is a basic pick. Again, I don't know all of the submissions that we've gotten through our Instagram. I don't know if this is a basic pick. But if I'm going through the wasteland and I'm trying to think about how I can fight off these zombies, what Muppet would actually be down to like fuck something up? I'm carrying Animal on a leash. Animal, there's a few reasons here. I first of all, I don't think Animal would be affected by whatever zombie disease that's causing all the zombies. I think if he got bit, he wouldn't get affected. Like in the Liza Minnelli episode, when they throw an axe through his head and then he's just completely fine. Animal's surviving fucking anything.
So you think animals immune to zombification?
100%. I think he is he's the last bastion of humanity to some degree because he can't be affected and he can eat all of the fucking all the zombies.
I really can't fault you on your first pick, to be honest. There were a few that I was like, ooh, these could be cheap shots, and but they would make sense, but I've steered clear of them for some reasons. Um, I personally am of the belief that if I didn't also have Floyd in my group, then
Mm.
Animal would be of no use immediately. I think that Animal would only stick around on a team with me if Floyd was also on that team, and that's a slot that could have gone to a real heavy hitter that I got in my team. So I veered clear of Animal for that reason. Animal does not show up in my five.
I could convince Animal. Here's what I think. I think Floyd gets killed by the zombies, and then in that vengeance, Animal is like, "I gotta get revenge," and like in the Animal voice. And I think I, fueled with rage, could get Animal to take care of a lot of zombies. I also think Animal, unlike a lot of other Muppets, he doesn't have the ability. Like a lot of Muppets would have like a hard time killing. You know, I feel like if Kermit was given a gun in the apocalypse, he'd be like, "Well, I don't know. Like this was a human before. I don't know if I can go through with this." Animal would just eat the son of a bitch. Like animals just eating them. So I think Animal would be a very really very really good pick for the zombie apocalypse.
I think that's fair. I also think it's a fair assumption that you kind of give Floyd a little bit just sort of in general. I feel like there's enough sort of Floyd reminiscence in your sort of state of being in general, that there would be some kind of familiarity there.
I was
So
about to
I'm
say, I'm from San Francisco and I partake in whatever silliness they partake in. Like I can electric mayhem it.
well, there we go then. That's a perfect it's like a perfect application for you to be Animal's new handler in a hypothetical zombie apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
That's a pretty good first pick. My first pick that I'm gonna go for feels like a bit of a cheap shot, but I'm gonna stand by it. I think it's probably gonna be one that a lot of people are gonna end up picking as well. But my first pick for who I would have in my zombie apocalypse team is the Swedish chef.
Mmm. I don't know why I didn't even think of that.
Well, I'm glad that we've managed to. I feel like the further we get down the list, the more there's going to be. Like we
Yes, some
might have one
similarity.
overlap maybe, but I'm going to put my faith in the Swedish Chef for multiple reasons. Because not only is he kind of, sort of, I think it's fair to say he's a violent figure. I
He
feel
is a
like it's not
destructive, horrid man.
a destructive presence about Muppet society. That's a man that's going to be able to inflict some damage for sure as as an offensive force against zombie hordes, but also like we need rations. We need
Mmm.
provisions. We need sustenance. And I don't think there's anybody who understands the food groups quite as well as Swedish Chef in his abstract way in which he puts food together. I feel like he'd be able to put something palatable together in a circumstance such as a zombie apocalypse. Are we going to be eating zombies at some point or another? I don't want to have to think about it too heavily. The answer is maybe, probably, but I think he'd do it in a way, like
I
there's
think so.
some fish that you can't eat like that are like unless you prepare it in an incredibly specific way,
Yeah,
they're
like
poisonous.
freaking
I feel
like
like Chef
blowfish or
knows.
whatever.
I feel like Chef knows how to prepare zombie in a way that is very precise and not poisonous.
Well,
Um,
and my theory with this is that if the zombie apocalypse does happen in our real world, the Muppet food, which is how all of our food is in real life, they talk and they sing and they're part of Muppet productions. I think all of the Muppet food would zombieify as well. We've seen in
mm.
Muppet's Haunted Mansion that the food can be turned. There were zombie versions, I'm pretty sure, of the Muppet food in Muppet's Haunted Mansion. I could be wrong,
I
but
don't recall, but I think in Muppet's Christmas Carol there might have been like rotting Muppet foods. I
regardless, they will die. And Swedish
mm,
Chef is still going to make a delicious Muppet food. Another thing I want to say with Swedish Chef is that, like, he's one of the only Muppets that we've seen largely be on the offensive, largely be
mm.
the aggressor, largely be the one with the knife trying to slash something. We've seen his lack of morals. We've seen him willingly try to kill Big Bird in Muppet Family Christmas. You know, even everyone else can clearly,
Turkey
easily interpret
jerky.
like Bergen, Smurgen,
Turkey,
Bergen,
turkey,
Bergen, Bird
turkey.
like everyone can rightfully see Big Bird as like, oh, he's like a large like 3-year-old bird. Like anybody can, in talking or even seeing Big Bird, interpret that. Swedish Chef, the blinders are on. Not only can he not see the humanity of Big Bird, he's willing to kill that beloved character, a literal child of a bird. Swedish Chef has no morals. And I think in a zombie apocalypse situation, you kind of need someone who's a little bit like, we're here to kill the zombies, turkey.
You need somebody with less like hang-ups about killing.
That's
Well, I
exactly
mean,
it.
that was part of my decision making in terms of having Swedish Chef be a player in this because like as much as I think that he serves a practical use as like cook, as team cook, I do think he's got that sort of wild cardness about him. There are some Muppets that I omitted, and I'm gonna say at the end which Muppet specifically that I vetoed. that I know for a fact has shown up in at least two people's suggestions. But there are some Muppets that I think a wild card is good to have, but I think some Muppets are too much of a wild card to the point where they might even be a liability.
Oh, 100%. I think in choosing this list, you have to think about. I think a lot of people project two things. Either one, project what they want out of a Muppet onto the Muppet, where I
Mm,
don't think they're actually going to follow through with that. And two, we have to look at the full scope of these Muppet characters. Like, there are certain ones that I looked at and went, oh, they'd be like bonkers and bananas. They'd like fuck up some zombies. But I know push comes to shove, we get downriver, they're selling us out. They're
mm.
fucking selling us for a few scraps of meat. I like I'll obviously get into mine at the end, but there's a few that like I can immediately think of where I'm like, hell no, that Muppet better not be on my fucking team. If he's on my team, we're dead.
Well, a really dangerous assumption you can make going into this is like, okay, pick five Muppets to have on your zombie apocalypse team, and you can pick any five Muppets. You're working on the assumption that they're all just going to do what you say. That's a very dangerous assumption because
Yes.
the Muppets don't even do what their boss says.
Dude,
Like,
Kermit can barely wrangle these people. You have to get Muppets that would work together in a like death scenario.
mm. But you've also got to like you got to hypotheticalize like would these Muppets fuck with me, or how do I get these Muppets essentially to collaborate with me in that sense? How can I collaborate, or how can I form a partnership, a serious partnership, like a proper like ride or die partnership with these specific Muppets? I think some of them
You
are too wild cardy for that. That was my opinion on Animal. You have turned me around, I think, on Animal, just again by providing context.
See, I think Animal and Muppets 2011, like he gets real loyal to Jack Black. He gets real
Mm.
loyal to Jack Black without much prompting. And I feel like if I, gave him enough drum and I gave him enough like, all right, Animal, you're off leash. Fuck up these zombies. I feel like Animal would just treat this like a silly little game. He wouldn't, I don't think he'd even understand there's an apocalypse. Besides the vengeance for Floyd, I think he'd just be like, this is awesome. Animal.
You just put in a little bit of effort with him, but I respect that. I respect that. Um,
So I think in thinking of my next pick
oh
here,
yeah.
in terms of like the zombie apocalypse, I'm walking around with Animal and I have him on a leash. And that's pretty good, right? That's pretty good as like a good defense mechanism. But I gotta watch my back. You never know what's coming at you at the wasteland. You never know who's gonna creep up on you. So that's why for my next pick, you've played Banjo and Kazooie, right? You know how
Yeah,
in
oh
Banjo and
my God, you are
Kazooie,
preaching to the choir. Banjo-Kazooie is one of my favorite games.
I'm
Oh
so
my
glad
God.
because as many people know with Banjo and Kazooie, Banjo the bear keeps Kazooie the bird in a little backpack,
Yeah,
and
he
Kazooie
does.
would fuck up people in the back. So I would keep Oscar the Grouch in a little backpack or
Oh
like a trash can, whatever, on my
God.
back. Oscar, so Animal on leash in the front, Oscar on the back with a shotgun peeking out, insulting people, maybe insulting me, but I know Oscar can fuck up some zombies. And I know he'd feel comfortable being handed a shotgun. Like I feel like that's an easy money pick.
Holy shit. Oh, you might be cooking. Oh my God, that's inspired. That's
And I
actually
know he'll
genius.
have some defense. He's in that trash can. Like if I'm have that trash can strapped on the fucking back. Like
That's brilliant. And I'm not just saying that because you appeal to my Banjo-Kazooie sensibilities. That's oh, wow, that's something I never would have considered. A wearable like Muppet defense? That's fucking
come
great.
on. Hey, I'm taking out the trash. Boom.
I'm starting to worry that you're a little bit too ready for this. You're like a Muppet Doomsday prepper, and you
Yeah, like
already
behind this door is a fucking like a silo full of Muppet fur and guns and ammunition.
oh my God, an Oscar the Grouch defense. But that's again, he's one of those you got to get him on your side. But
That's the
again,
thing.
you seem to have a plan for getting Oscar on your side because it's like you're giving him transportation. If he refuses to leave his trash can, he's not going anywhere. You're giving him transport.
Mhm.
You're his donkey effectively.
See, the way that I view getting, because I agree with you, getting Oscar to be on your zombie apocalypse team that's a hard task because he immediately would be selfish. He'd immediately, like, that's the first pick you would think of a Muppet that would, like, sell you down the river.
Hmm.
However, I want to point to Oscar's relationship with Maria on Sesame Street. He constantly is beefing with Maria, he's constantly getting into it with her, but he has such a deep respect for Maria that he always ends up doing what she asks. Even if he's going to be a little son of a bitch throughout it, even if he's going to be like, Maria, I'm a little idiot, I'm a grouch, what are you telling me to do? He still does it. I think if I was, I think with Oscar, you have to gain his respect. He's one of
Hmm.
those dudes in the zombie apocalypse where it's like, yeah, I'm a lone wolf, but you impressed me. Now we're fucking teaming up. I think you have to be like Maria if you want Oscar. You need to be mean right back to him. You need to tell Oscar, yo, shut the fuck up, pick up that gun and shoot that zombie. I think if I could channel even an ounce of Maria's energy, I could get Oscar on my team.
That you have like strategized it. I'm feeling a little inadequate. I feel like you put way more thought into this.
Again, there's a whole doomsday prep station behind this door that you have not seen.
Oh my God. I do think though with the specific loadout that you've got Oscar planned for, I do think it's got to, at that point it's got to be like a symbiotic relationship because like
Ooh,
you're looking out for each other and that's like the kind of mutual respect thing I think that you got to build
yes.
with a guy like Oscar. Because it's like you're taking him places, you're making sure that he's because otherwise he'd still be stuck in the same trash can on Sesame Street just a zombie now.
Oh, did he be fucked? He's
Fuck,
like,
because he's not
oh, we
going
gotta go.
anywhere, because he's not leaving his fucking trash can. I think personally, just because of how grim and dystopian a zombie apocalypse is, I think he'd be so just like in general stoked about it.
Yeah,
Um,
he'd be so hyped.
to the point where he might not even need a massive amount of convincing. But I think the sheer creativity and yeah, it's just sheer impressiveness of your Oscar loadout. Fuck me if that's not a good pick.
Can
Damn.
somebody please draw fan art of me with Oscar on my back with a shotgun shooting zombies?
That's
Please,
oh, that would go hard. Tell you what,
please.
we are going to run our first giveaway at some point. Who, if anybody does fan art of Max with with a trash can on their back with zombie apocalypse Oscar, you'll get an extra entry into our giveaway. First person to do it.
First,
Officially issuing that challenge to anybody listening.
right now, do it.
Oh, okay. I've got to pick which of my five I choose to parallel that. Tell you what, I'm gonna go for somebody who is somebody that I have not seen a single person list, and that makes me a little proud of that. I think it's somebody that you wouldn't immediately think of if you were thinking about like Muppets and Zombie Apocalypse. And it's another one that's like he's an abrasive personality. He would likely sell me down the river later. So we've got to establish a rapport. We've got to establish a partnership. We've got to establish a sort of mutual standing. And once that is achieved, I think this guy would be an incredibly valuable partner to have in a situation such as this. And so my second pick is the world's most dangerous frog,
Oh,
Constantine. I
oh my.
am putting Constantine in for my second pick for my zombie apocalypse team.
See, I considered Constantine, but my thought with him, and I'd love to hear your justification. My thought was like he's too evil. Like he might not like he has the partnership with the lemur, but I don't know. I would love to hear why because I was like, oh, Constantine too evil. He can't be on my team.
Well, that was my thought initially. Constantine is too morally shakeable or too morally bankrupt to begin with. how could I trust a guy like this? But then you've got to think about the circumstances that we're in because, like, what is evil when society has collapsed? Why is Constantine evil? Because he wants to steal things. He feels like he's got something to prove. What's the best way to like prove yourself in a survival circumstance? It's to stay alive. We have already seen evidence for the fact that even though Constantine is like the world's most dangerous frog and is incredibly capable, incredibly smart, incredibly deadly as a martial artist, he still needs human help.
That's true. Oh,
Still,
that's true.
still needs assistance essentially. And so the position that you would have to put yourself in to have Constantine willingly be on your team is that you would have to allow him to think that like you are his second in command and that he is like the head of this operation. You've got to allow him to believe that he's like the Rick Grimes. He's like the
Yeah.
in charge, like badass leader, and like you're all his cronies. You just have to swallow a little bit of pride, but you can again form that kind of symbiosis where you're helping each other. And I feel like once you've been out long enough as a group, you can start to peel back the layers on Constantine a little bit because I think there could be a lot more underneath him. So it's all speculation, but I think Constantine is somebody that's going to be incredibly valuable to have on your team, even if it means having to kind of like delegate your position a little bit to allow him to think that he's like the cool, awesome leader and you're number two and he's number
Oh,
one.
what? My thing with Constantine, I think, I haven't watched The Walking Dead in a long time, but I feel like there was a trope in The Walking Dead where they would like befriend someone or someone would be in the group and then they'd lose contact with them and then like, whoa, 3 seasons later, they're the like fascist zombie apocalypse dictator of a whole other group of people and they need to fight the original group. I feel like Constantine he'd get my worry with him is that he get to like in believing his own Kool-Aid that he is the leader of this group and he is the head honcho calling all these shots. He would get power. He would get even more power hungry. He would backstab the group, find a new group of people to be loyal to him, and then use that group to try to attack your original group.
Well, that's why you gotta really make yourselves indispensable as like
Uh-huh.
his sort of cronies. You gotta show how tight-knit you are as a group. You've gotta show your capability. And just I think there is a version of this in which somebody as like dastardly as Constantine becomes like a really strong ally. And I'm gonna harken back to Walking Dead because again, this is all conjecture. This is all speculation. This is all speculation from somebody who has actively not watched The Walking Dead. But I am aware that there's like the big villain guy who was like there was like that cliffhanger where he was like I'm gonna bash somebody's skull in. It was
Oh
Negan.
yeah.
And then he bashed two guys' skulls in, and for like 3 seasons, it was like, okay, there's two main threats here. There's the zombies, and then there's this guy. This guy is immediately more of a threat than zombies. And now whenever I check in with like whatever the show's up to now, it's on like its fifth spin-off or
Yeah, I
continuation or
have no
something.
idea.
And he's like on the team, and he's like part of the team, and he's like, oh boy, can't wait to get stuff done together. And it's like, you killed like a fan favorite, I swear. And then I hear that he's like, I think he got with the guy's wife that he killed.
You might have killed my husband, but you're a damn good zombie shooter. And
Well,
if
not
I
even shooter.
respect you,
He's got the baseball bat. He swings it around and wears a scarf, I believe. But
I
that could just be a testament to the like poor writing of the end of The Walking Dead. But I think that's a circumstance where it could be like maybe we come across Constantine and he's some kind of like runs some kind of like gang of like ne'er-do-wells. But we win him over. We make we establish a rapport between us that's like, ooh, yeah, you know what? We got something going here.
Constantine would be the one to give the speech, like the classic fucking speech in any zombie apocalypse thing, where it's like the people here maybe be as worse as the zombies. Like
Well,
morally, we
in
might
the
be even worse than them.
in an apocalypse such as this, am I truly evil? What is evil? And then it becomes like the like villain frog having a monologue about morality, and it's like, whoa, this is deep, and it's coming from this like nasal Russian frog.
Riddle me this. If we are all human beings, why do we feel comfortable looting and stealing and shooting our own human beings? There's
I
damn this
it's,
evil frog. He's saying a lot. I need him in my group.
it's like, yeah, exactly. Whoa, don't you wish that you had him in your group?
Oh fuck! I don't wish I don't have him in my group.
But anyway, yeah, as much as he is a very big like hear me out, um, I am willing to stand by and make a case for Constantine.
I actually I like it. I think it's like I had not thought of appealing to Constantine's like uh the way that the lemur in Muppets 2014 is actually like going to backstab freaking Constantine. He's actually the smart one. Call it. You would be that. You would be a much better version of the lemur.
You just gotta fuel his ego a little bit. That's how you get him to act as a team player effectively.
See,
Um,
that is
it-
a. I think that's a good pick. I had not considered Constantine like that, but I think that's a good pick.
well,
Um,
that's the unique perspective that we got. We
I and hearing that when I hear Constantine, and I'm like, okay, I hear the reasons and I get your justification fully. For my next pick in my Muppets Party of Five Zombie Apocalypse Survival Team, I'm thinking kind of in the opposite direction. I Constantine is somebody with such questionable morals that I struggled to put him within my group. But there is a Muppet with such strong morals, such hardcore values and convictions that I would argue he is essential to your team in a Muppet survival scenario. That is Sam the Eagle.
I had a
Sam the
feeling
Eagle.
I had a feeling that was where it was going from your description of him. The second you said like hard morals, I was like, oh, we're going Samwise, aren't we?
We know that where this is headed. Go birds. So the thing is with Sam the Eagle, we all know that he's like the moral guy. He's always getting on the other Muppets about being like, oh, you guys putting this on television, whatever. In a zombie apocalypse scenario, everything goes to shit. No, morals go out the window. Every human being, the disgusting, deplorable things that human beings do. That's why Constantine's giving his whole speech about how we're no worse than the zombies. I think you need somebody in the wasteland with such moral conviction, with somebody who isn't going to let the zombies and destructions and human killing affect their rock solid morals. And no Muppet has more rock solid morals than Sam the Eagle.
Okay, so you're less thinking of Sam as like a strategical advantage kind of Muppet. You're thinking of him as more of like a moral compass. He's the one that's tethering you all to what remains of your humanity.
Yes, both.
Ooh.
Like two things. One, I think Sam is so fucking loyal. I think he is somebody that if he's in this group, he will like do anything for the group. In Muppet Treasure Island, he gets thrown in a boat and fucking sent off into the middle of the ocean and he finds his way back to help Kermit kick some ass. Like I think Sam I think he is somebody that is not only extremely loyal and he will be there for the group and he will do all the dirty work for the group. But I also think that Sam Eagle, yeah, morally would be somebody that you need to have. As humanity and Muppet manity collapses, you still need someone who's like, this is not right. The way that these zombies have destroyed the world is not okay. The way that they looted and destroyed that camp of other humans is not right. And I'm like, yeah, Sam, you're right. We can't get deplorable like those other humans. Thanks for keeping me straight, bro. Thanks for keeping me in line.
I feel like you're opening my third eye with some of these picks. You are, oh man, there's not a single one of these that I have like actively seen coming. This is interesting. This is crazy interesting. Ooh.
See, Animal has no morals because he just doesn't have the brain capacity. So I wouldn't feel guilty having him like on the team. Oscar, he has morals, but it's just under like layers and layers and layers of of anger and frustration. Sam, you don't need to break through to get to. He is solid and he's moral, but I think he'd feel comfortable working with those other guys because he'd see into the goodness in them.
I think that Sam is such an interesting pick because it's like, as I already said, it's absolutely not like it. I don't know if he'd even be on my first like 10 or 20 that I would have loaded up. It's because like it just shows that interesting, like the different ways that we've gone about assembling this list because it's like for all intents and purposes, he like makes sense. He's like your sort of anchor to your humanity.
Dude, yeah.
I just don't know. I'm of the controversial opinion. I think Sam's getting got if there's a zombie apocalypse.
Disagree. I think he's surviving to the end.
Yeah, 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 for your sake, I hope he does because he's on your team and not mine.
Dude, he fucking
But
better. I'm dead if he doesn't.
so like, what does Sam bring to the team outside of moral support? Is he like good with a weapon? Does he have like
I
a
think so. I think we've seen him fight in Muppet Treasure Island. I think we've seen him be cunning in Muppets Most Wanted. I think with just his whole aura of like American history and all that shit, I think at the very least he knows how to use like a really old timey gun and like a really old timey sword.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
like
is he gonna go all like 1700s and like pull out like a musket and
yes,
like
that's like my whole thing is that like musket with the bayonet and what the only issue is that Sam has to take like 3 minutes to reload anytime we have zombies.
yeah, I was gonna say there's definitely drawbacks to using a musket in a zombie apocalypse. I I'm willing to hear you out on Sam. I'm willing to hear you out on Sam. My goodness. What a whirlwind this has been
Yeah,
already. We're only
Sam
on
is
like
keeping us
third picks deep.
alive. Sam is keeping our humanity intact.
Well, I'd like to contrast then with somebody who, as far as we're aware, has no humanity, no moral alignments, no political affiliation, no like religious beliefs, no qualms about violence and destruction. And the reason that I chose this Muppet is simply just as a damage powerhouse.
Yeah,
Just
the tank of your group.
one, I would say this is our like main tank. And the purpose that I have for this guy in my head is to just send him out and let him do his thing and keep distance from him. Um, and it's kind of a deep cut, and I'm kind of cheating a little bit because he's not a Muppet in the traditional sense, as in he doesn't feature in the Muppets or Sesame Street or Fraggle
Ooh,
Rock or anything like that.
who is this?
This was what initially I had vetoed, but I thought about it and I thought, no, I think I could wrangle him. I think I could wrangle him. And so my third pick is one that's already got a shout out on this podcast previously. It's the LaChoy Dragon.
Dude, I'm so fucking glad you just said this. I was also considering LaChoy Dragon, but I didn't put him on, and I'm so glad you had the freaking gumption, the
Had
ball
had the
to
guts,
fucking have the LaChoy Dragon.
had the stones to go all in on the LaChoy Dragon. I just like, come on. You saw what he did to that can of chow mein. He's
Yeah,
cooking
dude.
zombies in dragon fire. Like,
Dragon Fire. I like
I'm cooking them in dragon fire.
I think there's two things with the LaCroix dragon here. One, you could ride him most of the day. You could be like strapped onto his back, and he'd just be like, "Whoa, bow, bing, bow."
Treat him like a mount.
Yes.
Poor
And
guy.
then when you get to like a horde of zombies, you get off and just go like, "They don't know about the delicious taste of LaCroix chow mein noodles," and you'd be
Yeah,
like, "What?
go inform them.
Whoa!"
Go inform them. Because like he's just like like unlimited destructive potential. He is
100%.
the unstoppable force. And a zombie apocalypse is not an immovable object. He is barreling through any obstacle that is immediately in front of him. And it is purely just from that standpoint. He is my key offensive player. Just purely just to send him on his way, keep my distance, and then just kind of be like whenever we get moving, just to kind of like
Oh, dragon. You'd be like,
I
"Yeah!"
I think there's a supermarket that it needs to be massively inconvenienced in this way that we're headed. I just,
Oh
yeah.
man,
When I
these
was
zombies, they don't know about how like they don't know how LaChoy noodles are cooked. Looks like I'm gonna have to show them my dragon fire, and he burns all of them.
Exactly, he's burning zombies to a crisp. He's knocking them the fuck over. He's barreling through them. He's like absolutely crumpling them like a piece of paper. Like I don't know. I just think with the destructive potential of the Choi Dragon, like that's a good player to have. Unfortunately, he
God
doesn't
damn
have
it.
the ability to give as rousing a speech as Sam Eagle. In fact, I don't. I think he's capable of very little speech outside of advertising LaChoy noodles.
LaChoy.
But
Yeah, he'd be a very like nice stoic teammate for the most part until you're walking through these destroyed, desolate towns and you pass a supermarket, and immediately he just be like, "Hey, do you think they have LaChoy in there?" Like, dude, come on. We've been walking
find
for
some
6 days.
LaChoy noodle.
Bro, I know you've said that at the last supermarket. Can we please keep walking?
You have to scramble to get as many rations as you can before the LaChoy dragon just fucking burns the supermarket down fully by
Oh!
accident.
See, I was also thinking of the LaTroy Dragon. I'm so glad you picked him because, like, my thing, the reason I didn't put him on my list is because two reasons. One, I was worried that I didn't like, we don't know enough about the LaTroy Dragon that I'm like, is there some deep-seated evil within this dragon so he would turn on the group and burn us? Like, do we know if the LaChoy dragon has that disgusting bone in his body?
You think there's some kind of like deep-seated malevolence behind the eyes, the absent eyes of the LaChoy dragon
I
that
really
could come
think
out
that
in an unfortunate circumstance?
for me, I don't know. Like I think that you made a good pick here, but like my hesitancy stemmed from the fact that like we don't like LaChoy Dragon has no loyalty to anybody but LaChoy brand chow mein. And it seems to me without any LaChoy Brown brand chow mein left in the world, how the fuck am I gonna get him to do what I want? And my second reason for not having him on the team is that the LaChoy Dragon, if we saw any woman left in the apocalypse, he's trying to convince her to eat LaChoy noodles. Because
Mm.
as you know from the very famous Jim Henson LaChoy Dragon commercials, the LaChoy Dragon almost exclusively interacts with hungry housewives. So if there is a hungry housewife, like, oh, like some woman's walking through the desert, the wasteland, I'm so hungry. Hungry? Have you tried? No, the Toy Dragon. We have to keep walking.
And you just, I love. See, I knew that in some capacities he was going to be a liability. I was fully prepared for the Troy Dragon to be a liability, but I thought his tactical advantage as just like a powerhouse would sort of outweigh that. But you made some very good points about how he could. I am still willing to stand by keeping him on my team.
I agree.
I
No,
think
I
that I
totally
could
agree.
conceive of ways to keep him because, like LaChoy, it's all like canned goods, right? So they'd survive the apocalypse.
Oh, true. Oh, that's so
We
true.
could, and like they still sell LaChoy brand stuff.
They
I would
do.
like to
They,
hypothesize that we would be able to find some LaChoy canned goods somewhere, and maybe I will just make like a jacket out of LaChoy wrappers, and so he will swear fealty to me as like the representative for LaChoy in his immediate vicinity. I'd like to think
Oh
that there's
yeah,
ways that I could conceive of making him loyal to me.
I think all you'd have to do is go, no, Mr. Dragon, I'm actually the executive of distribution for LaChoy. And he'd be like, you work for LaChoy? You're my master. What should I do? Who should I destroy?
Honestly, it might
Really?
just be sometimes the best solution is the simplest one, and it's just
I
it's just
think,
lying,
I think
just
as
lying to
well.
the LaChoy Dragon.
I think
I couldn't.
also, like LaChoy Dragon, even though he does love himself a hungry housewife, he's not
You
like
need to stop. You need to stop with this hungry housewife.
because that's the Choi Dragon. There's quite. I think the tagline
Oh,
one of his ads is quite literally. It's like here the desperate hungry housewife, a fire breathing dragon. What will happen with them?
you're making it sound like it's a meet cute, like it's a rom-com.
It is. That's how they frame it. Watch that ad and tell me that she's not in love with that dragon. And
Man, I
I
should have
think
really
that
read up on LaChoy's lore before going all in on the LaChoy Dragon. But
I
we will
think
see.
LaChoy, like, and the reason I bring up this whole housewife thing, Animal, he sees any woman, he's gone, just
Yeah,
taken
he's
off.
a
LaChoy, you could probably be like, dude, think of the amount of noodles we're focused on right now, man.
yeah.
Like,
We gotta
don't think
maximize our
about her,
noodle
think about the
output.
noodles.
Mm. Oh man.
I
Well,
think that's a great.
there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons. But
So, oh
I'm
my
willing to see.
God, that means I only have two picks left. That's
Yeah, well, we both only
crazy.
got two picks left now. We're in the home stretch.
Oh, I feel like I burned my really good ones, but I still have justification for the other ones here.
Let's hear them.
Okay, so this one, I think people would immediately be a little bit hesitant for this pick because this Muppet has a tendency to eat a lot and also be kind of a son of a bitch, be a little bit of a scheming, plotting kind of guy. I, however, think there is a lot of reasons and justification for this Muppet being on our team, and that's Rizzo the Rat. What happened?
Ooh,
Ba scoodly doo ba doo ba ba. That's Rizzo.
that's unconventional.
So I think there's a lot of good reasons to have Rizzo on the team. He's the most street smart Muppet. Like I think any Muppet during an apocalypse scenario, he'd be cracking quips the whole time, like sleeping outside in the freaking apocalypse. This is no worse than sleeping in the sewer and whatnot. He would say something
And whatnot.
like he has no problem living in desolate condition of like the wasteland, whatever. I think he's totally somebody that could steal us some food. You know, Sam has the morals and shit. Like Sam has the morals and shit. But you do need somebody who in this fucking wasteland understands that you have to pull some schemes, that you gotta like be a little bit mischievous. And Rizzo, I think he's that perfect level. I don't think Rizzo would ever stab us in the back. Like I think people misinterpret Rizzo's, schemingness for like manipulation. I think Rizzo has never turned his back on the Muppets. He's always been there for Gonzo, even if he says a line of like, I'm getting out of here. They're like, no, you're not, man. You know you're in for this shit. I think Rizzo, he would be somebody who can get us food. He can get into like tight spaces. He can like, oh no, we're trapped and zombies are coming near us. Don't worry, I'll fit through the gate and unlock it from the other side. Like Rizzo, he also wouldn't have to eat that much, even though he has a big appetite. My only worry is that he'd steal more rations than he needs.
That's a
However,
risk. That's a real risk that you have to worry about.
However, I think Sam would have full ability to keep Rizzo in line.
Mm.
I think that uh, Oscar and Rizzo would get along so extremely well. I think that in Muppet Family Christmas, he's like, hey, they befriend each other. They would have that previous rapport where I think it would be like Rizzo and Oscar would feel like, okay, we can be part of this team because me and you are fucking together in this shit. I think like Oscar's my backpack shotgun guy, and then Rizzo is my running around sneaking into places guy.
Do you know this has actually become such an irritating task because every single one of yours that I hear, and I'm like, ooh, immediately, and then you justify it, pisses me off more and more because you have such a fucking good and well-balanced team that it's actually really starting to irritate me.
Dude, I
Um,
thought of this shit. It's the
you,
Muppocalypse, man.
honestly, you're fucking surviving the apocalypse at this rate. Like, it could all go
Um,
downhill on number five, but I don't think it will. Fuck me. That's a ooh. I think you have perfectly evaluated like the pros and cons with Rizzo. I do think you're still potentially running into some risks with Rizzo. I think possibly your big risk is that he encounters one of your concerns with Constantine. He encounters a group that he considers would probably be a lot more befitting of his goals than you guys, and he would sell you out maybe. I don't know. There doesn't seem to be anybody on your team to my recollection, that he's like super tight with.
See, I think that in the apocalypse scenario, Rizzo and Oscar would be so you know what? Like all of these fucking people don't get what's going on here, but you and me fucking get it. And I
Mm.
think if we did encounter some sort of group where they were like, oh, we have so much food and we have beautiful rats that you can flirt with, the Oscar would be like you do. I think
Oh,
Oscar and him would have the fucking Brokeback Mountain. We are in this
now
together.
hang on a minute. What do you mean by Brokeback
Situation.
Mountain? Are you shipping Oscar and
I,
Rizzo right now?
I don't even necessarily know if it's that. I think it's more of like a man,
What did you think was going on Brokeback
I
Mountain?
think you and me, with all this destruction and pain going on, at least I have you.
Bro, that's not what Brokeback Mountain. Brokeback Mountain was just, it was just.
Oh, it's both. It's Brokeback Mountain if we want it to be that, and then it's also just like, what, you and me did against all odds.
You know who's like, oh, it's you and me against all odds? Woody and Buzz Lightyear,
Oh,
not
fuck.
fucking Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger from Brokeback Mountain. They were
Well,
a bit
they can
different stuff.
kiss, they can do whatever, but hey, they're in it for together for the long haul.
I'm picturing that gif of the fucking scene from Brokeback Mountain where Jake Gyllenhaal's wife sees him sleep with Heath Ledger in the alley, but it's Yolanda. Like
Yolanda.
it's
Yeah,
Yolanda,
chaotic
like just there,
Rizzo and
just like
Oscar.
stone face as like Rizzo and Oscar making out in the alley.
Wish I knew how to quit you.
Oh goodness me. Oh Jesus. This is okay. Now when we do an episode about like casting from Muppet adaptations of stuff, we're coming back to Brokeback Mountain. It is gonna
Oh, we're
be
gonna
Oscar
have
and
to. I
Rizzo.
actually, jokes aside, I have a lot of strong opinions on a Muppet Brokeback Mountain recasting, but that's besides the point. I think Rizzo would be essential to my team. I think he's cunning. I think he's street smart. I think he has proven himself to have loyalty despite his kind of like here and there manipulating kind of things that he does. I think at the end of the day, Rizzo really does give a fuck. I think it would be a little tough since I haven't drafted anybody like Gonzo or Pepe or anything, but I think he
Yeah.
fucks with Oscar enough for this to
Okay,
be
well
a good thing.
that's an insight into your last pick. I'm trying to work out based on this who your last pick would be. I'm hoping to be surprised.
Oh, I do. My last pick is so up in the air. I have three things that I'm looking at that I'm gonna choose between for my last
So
one. And
you've got until I've done rattling off who my
yes,
fourth pick
I
would be.
promise I'll be listening to your thing and not just being like, which one's my turn
She's like,
soon. I can't
could
wait
you
to
fucking
pick.
wrap it up? I gotta pick.
Yeah, I have to see why freaking Tamanella Grinderfall is gonna be on my pick.
I was gonna say my number five, Mildred Huckstetter, is really gonna be.
I love Mildred.
No, she's not actually. Unfortunately, I've completely come around on Rizzo, and it's really pissing me off how much I've
Let's.
like been so quick to come around on yours, but mine are all still so debatable. We're gonna, for my number four, I'm gonna again go in a completely opposite direction. Not just in the sense of their personality, not just in the sense of their sensibilities, in their sense of their physical presence as well, because this one is one that I feel this is if LaChoy Dragon is my main tank, this
Mm.
is a supplementary tank. But not only is would I do I think he'd be very capable in that sort of combative sense, but I think that he's gonna provide me and all of us with the kind of emotional consolation that we're gonna need in a time like this. He's somebody
Okay.
that we can rely on to kind of anchor us to our humanity in a different way from Sam, where Sam appeals to your sense of duty. This guy would appeal to your sense of like your emotion and your soul.
Mm.
And
Mm.
that's why my fourth pick is one of my favorite Muppets of all time, Sweetums.
Oh,
I
oh.
I see Sweetums as a necessity on the team.
Yes, oh my God, I could not agree more.
Like, because come on, we've already seen that he's got gargantuan strength. He can just drag a car just like and without even breaking a sweat.
Oh my God,
He
he can
is
just he picks that thing up like it's nothing.
he while singing a little song, no less. We already know that he's inhumanly fast and durable
He
because
can run across the country
he
chasing
ran from the Midwest to Hollywood without visibly looking tired at
literally.
almost the same rate as a car.
Dude,
Um,
Sweetums, he is also like he is loyal to a fault. I
absolutely.
I think if you get him on your team, he is not fucking leaving that team.
Mm-mm.
And if you are like, oh my God, in Muppet Treasure Island, all the evil people try to get Sweetums to be on their side and fuck up the Muppets. He's like, no, I love you guys. He'd say that so many times during the apocalypse.
Well, that's what you need because we've got all these competent fighters and people who I with like it's 90% like tactical decisions in this. Sweetums is one that would like prove himself as a good combatant, but like he's good for your soul. Just to have
Uh,
Sweetums around, you kind of because it's so easy to forget that you're like a person in a circumstance like that. But Sweetums and his just genuine loveliness and his genuine just so it would appeal to your humanity in a way that you just like really need during a time like that. Sweetums is a Muppet that I consider absolutely essential in an environment like
absolutely.
this.
Uh,
Um,
I
not
agree so
yeah,
much.
not just because of his incredible physical prowess, but just because of how much you need him as a psychological anchor. Because it's like, you know what, Sweetums, I do think that we're going to see a better tomorrow because you believe that there's going to be. Because as much as it's a dire situation, I know that Sweetums is an optimist. And so I know that he's going to see through this situation
Yes.
and he's going to continue to do it the best he can with a smile. And that's what's going to keep
Absolutely.
all of us, that's going to what's going to motivate us to keep going.
I could not fucking agree more with that pick because, like, I obviously a lot of people I think would pick Sweetums because of his like
Mm.
physical prowess.
He's buff.
Obviously, he's buff. He's a big dude. He's a bruiser.
Yeah.
But I think in a zombie apocalypse, you're going to run into a scenario where, you're covered in dirt, you're bloody, you're sitting around a fire with the rest of your group. Morals are down. We might have gotten stabbed by something. We might have gotten into some sort of big situation. You'd be looking around like, what is this even worth anymore? I'm alive, but what happened to humanity? And you'd turn, and Sweetums would look down at you, and he'd be like, even though the world is done, we can still live through our humanity.
It's
Humanity
gonna be
doesn't end just
okay.
because people are gone.
It's gonna be all right. We'll see you better tomorrow.
Huh?
It's gonna be
We
better if we make it better. And he's gonna give you like he's gonna pat you on the head with his giant hand. It's gonna be
bonk, bonk.
like he's a real like Andre the Giant type figure. It's
Yeah,
like
yes.
I absolutely believe I can do anything because you told me that I can.
I don't know, Sweetums. I really think everything. Why I'm just struggling to go on in this apocalypse. We have to keep going. If we stop going, humanity's flame goes out. Oh fuck, you're right, Sweetums.
It's that Twitter meme where it's like I think we're gonna have to kill this guy, Sweetums. So he's like, oh nuts,
Well, if I have to.
oh beans.
Also, it's like
I just think
who
he'd be good value. Like
I
he's an all rounder.
I think Sweetums also, it's like, yeah, stamina wise, that dude is not slowing down in any capacity. And
Mm.
all of us are feeling like we can't go on. Sweetums is going to keep going on. Even let's say the entire rest of the group dies. Sweetum's going to be the last one on Earth. He's going to just be walking the lone Earth, but he's going to still be like, everything will work out. It'll be okay.
Well, no, that's a really sad image. Why would you conjure that to the forefront of my mind? That's
Don't
just really
worry, he's
sad.
not entirely alone because in my mind, if you get Sweetums, I imagine he has Robin on his shoulder the entire time.
But
And it's like
okay, but that's cheating, and I
that
wanna
is
I
cheating.
wanna implement that right now. There are some of you in your submissions put Muppets that traditionally come in pairs as
As
one
one
submission.
pick.
That
Guys,
cheating,
that's
that
not
you
how this
cheated, and
works.
we will be reprimanding you for it.
Yeah,
So
you're getting
I am
called
going to
into
say
Muppet
this is
Principal's office.
this is Sweetums without Robin. I would possibly
Okay,
sacrifice.
I
I would maybe
agree
consider
with
it.
I agree that people they know putting two people in one spot. But
No.
I love the idea of in the zombie apocalypse, like you know how like in Gundam it'll be like a fucking like a child operating this like giant machine that's like killing,
Mm.
kicking a bunch of ass. That's how I imagine Robin like on Sweetum's shoulder. Like Sweetums is just going around bashing a bunch of zombies, and he's just like, "Wow, Uncle Kermit, isn't this awesome?"
Jesus. Oh,
Dude,
that's an image now. It's like Fortnite with Bart in the little mech suit, so that they can make Bart a playable character. He's got like the little
that's
robot arms and legs. It's exactly like that.
yeah, exactly. It's that, but it's Robin on Sweetums.
Oh my goodness.
Here's the
That's
thing.
that is an
Okay,
image that's been conjured.
I'm really happy that you picked Sweetums here, and I agree with all of your justifications. But that means now I have to find out. I have to pick a different fifth because Sweetums was my number
Oh,
five.
really?
Sweetums, I had, you know, I had three that I had to choose from, but Sweetums was the one that I was like, he's got to
Ooh.
be on this team. Since you picked Sweetums, I think I'm gonna have to throw in a wild card fifth
A
pick.
wild card fifth.
See, Sweetums would, I'd say he would round out my team. I would say in the hypothetical, I would ideally pick Sweetums. But Sweetums is on Will's team already. I can't, he's undyingly loyal. How the
Which
hell am I gonna get Sweetums? I messed up, man. So I have two picks left that I think will
Max,
either
that's cheating. We
no, I
just
have
talked
two
about
people
this.
to pick from, I mean.
Okay. Okay. Well,
That
you're gonna have to leave one of them to mystery. One
I
of them will be
think
lost to the sands of time.
I will not reveal one of them, but I think both of these can make or break my group completely. Like I
Okay.
think both of these are such wild card picks that if they're included, they either get us killed or we survive the entire apocalypse depending on them.
I'm so interested. Oh, this is the
Okay.
suspense, the suspense.
So, for my fifth pick, as we've gone through this apocalypse, we have traveled through desolate wastelands of what we used to call our home. We've we've lost our sense of humanity, even though I've tried to address that with people like Sam. You know, even though I have people on my team that can mess up these zombies like Animal. Like I'm lacking like you know Sweetums is on your team, and Sweetums is providing that pure, just like excitement of humanity. Even when everything's gone wrong, he still has this like, "But I love people" kind of attitude.
Hmm.
And what happened to how we got our fifth member is that we're walking through a fucked up town, like a town that has been completely destroyed by zombies, and we see this bright spaceship looking thing, this thing that's bright colors,
You're
and
fucking lying.
there's these
You're
trash
lying.
can looking things that are dead laying on the side. And we're like, what the hell is this? We send Rizzo to go inspect, and he's like, you're gonna want to see this. Crash landed on the planet during the apocalypse is Hubba Hubba of the
You
Who's.
fuck. You're gonna pull some bullshit like hubba hubba.
he's like, Hooble Doop, I've somehow crash landed my Hoobie Mobile. And we're like, Hubba Hubba, this is not okay, man. You came at the wrong time.
The
But he's
fuck
like,
is Hubba
what
Hubba
happened to
gonna
all the
do?
tiddly peeps?
The fuck is Hubba Hubba gonna contribute to
I'm
a
so
fucking
glad you
apocalypse
asked.
team?
I'm so glad you asked because that's what I thought too. When I came upon this spaceship, this brightly colored motorets powered spaceship, I was like, how the hell is Hubba Hubba going to do anything for us? Like, whatever. Hubba Hubba, unlike the rest of us, has a he has spent years learning everything about humanity. He still has this, Hubba Hubba, he probably has not witnessed humanity go to shit like this. I'm sure he's just been traveling the stars. And then he crash lands on Earth as I've laid out. He still has this desire and love for humanity. He has this deep knowledge about everything on Earth, and I think Hubba Hubba, while all of us are like going through the pain and destruction of the wasteland, he would have no fucking concept of what's going on. He'd just be bouncing along, being like, "Well, this is such a wonderful day." I think that positivity, and well, he would have knowledge, but also naivety that would keep us from experiencing the full horrors of destruction of the wasteland. He'd be like, "That's oil. We can use it to power on the car and the generator that we have. And also, I have no idea what's happening." I think he'd be essential to the group, frankly.
You had four such incredible, well thought out, sensible picks, and then you fucking swoop in there with Hubba Hubba. I don't know what to make.
Hubba
I'm-
Hubba's not in Hoobland anymore. He's in the apocalypse. Woo, woo, woo.
Oh my God. I
Hubba,
think it's
dude,
just batshit enough to fucking work somehow.
dude, he knows everything about Earth, but he also probably has no concepts of the apocalypse. He
So
just again
you
be bouncing around, singing and hoobing along while we're all dealing with the trauma of the apocalypse. He just be like, "Toodle doop, everyone."
Okay, so you think so what Hubba Hubba's bringing to the team is a combination of the Hoobapedia being like a
Yes.
fact file for like useful information that was learned during the course of that I'm now guessing now deceased Hoobs.
Yes, yeah, of
Um,
course.
the information that was farmed by the now deceased core Hoobs and motorists.
Rest in peace.
The Hoobapedia combined with just Hubba Hubba's jovial sense of just sort of whimsy, you think is going to bring levity to the team as well as practicality.
Absolutely. He'd be like our forager, but he also wouldn't have the concepts of horror. He's just kind of like happy and he's just hanging out with all of
Oh, so
us.
he's not psychologically burdened by like zombies or the collapse of
Exactly.
kind.
Exactly. I think there's a part of me that would get annoyed at some point and be like, okay, everyone's dying and like people are dying in front of us and he's still just like, this is such a wonderful day in Hoobie Land. And we're like, oh my God. But
Hubba Hubba, there's people that are dying.
Hubba Hubba, wake up, man, wake up. But I think having someone who's so oblivious to the situation would make me feel like, yeah, you know what? This just shit doesn't even matter. This guy's right. He just bounces around and knows a lot about the things we can forage, and he is not experiencing the horrors of the apocalypse. Hubba Hubba is our fifth pick.
This is a remarkable switch up from what I had come to expect from this team.
Well,
Okay.
I would have had fucking Sweetums, a much better pick for my fifth
Okay,
if
well,
I did not take
I'm
them.
one very apologetic that I swept in and took Sweetums. However, I will absolutely not be giving him up.
I,
I am very glad that I got in there first.
and here's the thing: I tried to think of another big Muppet to use, and I was like, oh, maybe Thog. My problem with Thog, my problem with LaChoy Dragon and Rizzo and Animal all being like way too into the babes of the wasteland, like freaking Thog, we would, dude. Thog's not making it out of the first freaking town.
Oh,
Fuck Thog. Thog's getting us killed.
You have a surprising amount of disdain for Thog. That was something I didn't know about you before we started
You know,
recording this.
I don't mean to be like rehashing Kermitman podcasts, reheating their nachos or whatever, because they're pretty anti-Thog. But fucking Thog's getting us killed, man.
Man, well, yeah, you clearly paid it a lot of mind. I would have said Behemoth maybe could have been a good alternate,
I was
possibly.
also thinking Frazzle. He's not big, but he's destructive. But I think Frazzle would definitely sell us out. Frazzle's
Mm,
not fucking letting
mm.
us live.
Oh,
You know,
Bear. Bear could have been a good alternative to Sweetums because Bear is big. Bear's a
he,
potential
I
powerhouse.
think I don't think Bear has it in him to murder. I think I'd be
Oh,
like,
really?
Bear, do it, crush him, Bear. And he'd be like, I can't do it.
I
And
don't know
Nolan
about
Neal
that
would be
one.
standing there like, do it, Bear.
Okay, so your team consists of Rizzo the Rat,
Yes.
Animal, um, Hubba Hubba, Sam Eagle, and the last one escapes me for some reason.
Wait, let me describe it here because we're talking about not just my team, we're talking about kind of the loadout if I'm walking through.
Oh,
If
okay, I forgot. Okay. So
if you
your
see,
team is as the sort of de facto leader, you've got Sam Eagle. You've got Animal on a Leash as your kind of attack dog. You've
yeah,
got your Banjo-Kazooie backpack Oscar the Grouch. You've got your sort of sniffer around and sort of team rascal Rizzo. And then you've got sort of archivist and just sort of general provider of whimsy Hubba Hubba. That's your
yes.
loadout.
See, I would say like you're somebody foraging through the wasteland. You haven't eaten in days. You haven't seen another human being in days. You look over the horizon, the dust parts, and you see animal on a leash, barking and chewing. I walk past and you're like, who is that? You see freaking Oscar with a shotgun being like, time to take out the trash. And Rizzo, he's running through our legs. He's just like, yep, he's running around and he's talking in that New York accent. You haven't even heard that in years since the apocalypse started. Sam Eagle walking right next to me, and he's just like, America will be saved. And then Hubba Hubba bouncing right next to me on the other side, like, who will do, everyone? What is the apocalypse? And you're like, humanity's saved. You see that group, you're like, humanity's fucking saved.
Is that the vibe? Is that what we're getting
Yeah,
from this
the
group?
guy who hasn't eaten in 12 days and is feeling the radiation of the apocalypse. He's like, "Oh my god, that group is giving me hope." They see Sam Eagle and Hubba Hubba and they see Oscar and Rizzo and Animal and humanity's back.
Oh, goodness me. Well, I think it's time, in the light of this startling reveal, that I reveal my fifth pick, which I'm very grateful that I have actually not had to change at all.
Huh.
So, my fifth pick, I thought a lot about it, and despite having to put so much thought into it, it's probably one that you would immediately assume. It's definitely going to be one that's on a lot of people's lists. And again, it seems like a cheap shot, but I think sometimes the most popular answer is sometimes the correct one. And that's why I don't think I'm gonna see any kind of like I don't think I'm gonna get any pushback from you,
No,
Max, because I'm gonna say this and you're gonna be like listening
of
and hearing.
course.
My fifth pick is Miss Piggy.
Of course. She
She's
should have been on everyone's list. She should have been on my list.
I want to see her on at least five submitted lists, and I think we will because she's reliable and
Yeah.
she's gonna be in my Sam Eagle position of like the de facto leader of the team.
Yep.
She is the only one I can see conceivably being able to wrangle everybody up, and it's gonna be less of a inspiring wrangling and more of a could you get your shit together wrangling.
All right, you all need to get your ass in order.
She, I think, is one of the only people that could keep Constantine on a leash. That
Oh,
she's one of, and I'm bringing it back to Constantine. She is somebody who is capable of making sure that Constantine fucking collaborates.
yeah. Constantine would say some yeah, okay, I might do this, and he'd be like, "All right, Frog, you
It's,
better listen to me, or we're dead."
she has fucking experience in dealing with frogs who act against her interests. Like
Oh,
she's just with this team that I've assembled, she is the natural leader. She is there is nobody else that could do the job.
I think Piggy's the best fucking choice for this scenario.
Yeah, there is no scenario where you don't want Piggy around.
I
You
think
can want people around that are more than Piggy. No, you can want people around more than you would want Piggy around. You'll be wrong, but like there is no circumstance where you don't want Piggy around.
See, Piggy, what I love about her, there's a few reasons for this pick. Um, Piggy has never been deterred. In
Hmm.
any scenario, Piggy is headstrong. She is the one pulling through. In Muppets 2011, or in many times when Kermit is the one, in like half the Muppet movies, when Kermit's like, "Well, I don't know what to do anymore, guys. Bah humbug." Piggy's like, "All right, guys, fucking Kermit's not pulling through, so I'm getting this shit going." Like,
She coordinated the kidnapping of Jack Black.
like,
She is resourceful. She is creative. She is
and
versatile. She
people
can operate heavy machinery and vehicles. Like
people act like obviously Piggy has done her fair share of being in a scenario and being like, oh, I don't want to get dirt on my dress kind of vibe. That's how they've kind of portrayed Piggy. But people forget that when push actually comes to shove, when it's not a situation that's like when it's a low stakes situation, yeah, Piggy, she'll be a little bit dramatic, whatever. When it's a high pressure, real fucking situation like the apocalypse, Piggy will pull through. And like we need to remember her roots. Piggy, she is not some like city girl like the way that she fucking portrays herself as. She is a hard, down in the mud, fucking like farm girl
she's a
that
rural
really,
baddie.
yes.
I feel like Miss Piggy's the one out of all of these that requires the least justification and explanation. Because my
Yeah.
explanation is pretty brief. I just have to say I want Miss Piggy on my apocalypse survival team, and it's just kind of like a general acceptance. Like there's no pushback to that. There's no reasonable pushback to that.
I think it's like I think Piggy in the apocalypse, she's still gonna look gorgeous. Her hair is somehow gonna still be flowing in the wind.
She's like
She's somehow
windswept. She's like sort of rugged chic. Like
yeah,
yeah,
she
she's
comes off like in the apocalypse movie when you get to the survivors camp. We know when they like that's always the trope in a movie is that they get to like an area of the country that like a bunch of survivors have set up. They would get inside, and Piggy would be the one with the fucking gun, being like, "Yeah, I run this place. What's up with you guys?"
like she's still serving. Like society has collapsed, but that doesn't mean that her wig has to. Like
Mm-hmm.
she's still cunty. She's still
Piggy's
doing
still a
everything that she
diva.
needs to be doing for glamour's sake. Like, but she's a deadly force. She's a force to be reckoned with. Like hand-to-hand combat, she's unmatched.
Oh yeah.
Not even by Constantine. Um,
Oh yeah.
and like machinery and like weaponry, say less. She's got
Oh
you.
my God. Piggy, in my mind, is one of the only Muppets that probably knows how to shoot a gun and probably is one of the only Muppets that it can, like, would have no issue fucking somebody up if they tried your apocalypse squad. Like, you get into a situation where another group is like cornering you and they're like, we're taking all your shit. Piggy would just go, hi and fucking jump around and slice and boom and kick everyone. You wouldn't even need to use a gun. Piggy would have just the skill to hit everybody with her karate chops.
I
Like,
I could not agree more with you. Piggy has fired a gun and will again if she needs it. Um, but like
try
I
me,
just
bitch.
so this team I've constructed, there's a lot of good stuff there for character. You've got your wild cards, you've got your sweethearts, you've got your leaders, you've got your rogues. I think with this team of Miss Piggy, Sweetums, the LaChoy Dragon, the Swedish Chef, and Constantine, I feel like there's enough in a team like that for like a zombie drama like The Walking Dead. That's like a good survivor team. To have that team paralleled with fucking the Sam Eagle led like fucking like dingus department with fucking Hubba Hubba.
Hey,
Like
hey, whoa, 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 whoa. Hubba Hubba is no dingus. He has an entire Hoobapedia to pull from. So we'll know what's poison and not poison when we're fucking foraging.
oh, that's okay, that's fair. That's fair. In terms of your like your fungal knowledge, which mushrooms are safe to
Yeah,
eat.
Also, let's not downplay how serious of a squad Oscar the Grouch on my back and fucking Animal chained up attacking everything. No, but I think if our groups were hypothetically thrown into the apocalypse, I think we have a very, very good chance here. I know we're biased because this is our picks here. And obviously, you can disagree with us. If you at home are like, these picks, what the hell are you talking about? Let us know. But like, I don't know, man. I think we've come up with some good justifications. I think we're at least surviving long enough to eat the LaChoy dragon kind of vibes.
Oh
Like,
my God. I think we're making it out. I think both of our teams are making it out. So we don't even get to
and
have like oh, I don't know if your team's gonna make it. Unfortunately, I really like your team. Unfortunately, I think you've got a balanced team. I
I
think
think
I
we
think
do
we're
as
both making it
well.
out of here.
I think it'll be that like season 4 when both teams meet up and they're
It's
like,
like,
wait a second, you guys have been out here too? What the hell? Do we fight each other or do we team up?
or do we kiss?
Or do we do I kiss the LaChoy dragon?
Oh my goodness. Wow, what a beautiful conclusion that this came to.
We
I
survived the apocalypse, guys. Isn't that
We survived the
incredible?
apocalypse, but the question is, how well are you going to do? How
How
do you
well
lot hold up? And we're about to
How
find
well will
out.
you,
Let's,
Rob Lake Magic, survive the apocalypse featuring the guest stars, the Muppets?
prior to the recording of this, we put out a little call on our story, painting the picture. You are in the apocalypse. What five Muppets do you want to have with you? And before we get into these, the one thing I want to say is that I want to harken back to earlier and that there were Muppets that I vetoed for my personal
Same.
use. I do find it very funny that you didn't put this Muppet in there. I would have, otherwise I would have gone on a whole rant. There's going to
Well,
be a lot of people that would feature this Muppet in their teams, and you probably wouldn't be wrong to, but you have to consider about the fact that can you control him?
oh, I
Can
know where
you
this is
wrangle him?
going.
Which is exactly why I did not put Crazy Harry on
Yes,
my team.
yes.
I just think there is a wild card,
Too
and then
crazy.
there is going way too far off the edge, and that's Crazy Harry.
It's in his name.
Because Crazy Harry, yes, he packs a punch. Yes, he's the explosives guy.
Oh,
How reliable would he be in like
bro.
a life or death situation for him to
Half
not just fuck around with explosives?
half the fucking time Harry blows up the rest of the Muppets. He blows up the thing that they weren't supposed. That's the whole joke is that he
Hmm.
doesn't blow up the right thing or he explodes everything. I think Harry, you can't control him. Unlike Animal, we've
Hmm.
seen him get controlled by Jack Black. We don't know the LaChoy Dragon's ability to join in the loyalty of a team and whatnot. But Crazy Harry, he's not like a loyal Muppet. He blows shit up, but I don't think for the good of the collective. And I don't I did not. I'm so glad you had the same thought. I mean, here's the thing. I don't want it to feel like when you submit these answers to our question, we're just gonna go through and be like, yeah, this is fucking stupid. Not what we'd pick.
No,
But
we're not
like,
here to shit on your answers. That's okay. Let's get that out of the way.
yeah,
Everybody
we're
that we're
not
about
here
to
to just be
mention,
little.
this is not indicative of your intelligence or your survival capabilities. That was just the point that I wanted. Those are my personal
Oh
qualms
yeah.
about
I
Crazy
just
Harry.
I just want to say we will be assessing these picks, and if we disagree, do not like we're not trying to make this as like a like we're two dummies with a Muppet podcast. Do not take our things with any amount of seriousness beyond a grain of salt.
They
That grain of salt's looking pretty good, and you should consume that when you're listening to us in this next segment.
put it over my fries,
That's a good
perhaps.
little piece of good grain of salt.
Um, yeah. So this is not we're not gonna be doing any real ranking of these. It's just gonna be more of a we like see the see the ranking and we go, hmm,
Like a
hmm.
Skeksis. Mm.
Also, we would like to say, I didn't edit it out of the last podcast, but we said we were gonna do Dark Crystal. It's gonna happen, just not
Yeah,
immediately.
we have to keep rescheduling, but Dark Crystal is happening. Skeksis and all the things that we said in the
Hmm.
past.
Expect it.
But
It will come. Okay.
we got a
First of all,
lot of responses. I am
we
like
did get.
actually kind of shocked here. Good. Thank you guys for taking the time to respond to this question. Holy shit, there was
We've no, yeah.
I,
I love like engaging with the Muppet community. This is like the first time we've got to properly like engage in terms of the actual subject matter of the episode. So I'd like
absolutely.
to do more stuff like this. Okay, so
Absolutely.
the
So
first,
can I start
oh,
off by
you
just
want to
saying
start off? Go
something?
ahead.
Oh, I just want to have, I have one thing I want to say that there is a through line for the vast majority of these answers here. There is a kind of consistent theme, and I would say most of these. I think the kind of median answer of all of five picks here is Kermit the Frog. We need to address the Kermit in the room here because neither of us picked Kermit, but it seems
True.
like almost all of you did. And so I wanted to ask Will, why was Kermit not on your team?
I just, Kermit's my boy. You know how much I love Kermit.
I
Kermit is
do.
genuinely like the most important fictional character to me. He just didn't occur to me immediately as somebody that would be viable on a zombie team. I think he'd provide that sense of heart, definitely. I just think that he might not necessarily be the most competent.
Bro, Kermit, I love him. He is genuinely one of the great. I love him so, 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 so dearly. But he pulls through in the end. He's somebody who, when push comes to shove, he will come through in the end. But in the apocalypse, I have no time to listen to someone just be like, "Oh man, like everything is so gone so wrong. How am I gonna figure this out? Everyone's looking to me to figure." It's like Piggy would have no hesitation to rally all of us through the apocalypse. I think Kermit, I don't want to hear him have his moral dilemma. I don't want to hear him have his fucking like, oh no, I don't know if this is the right move, whatever. Like Piggy will get it done. Kermit's not on my team because I don't think he has. Dare I say it? I love Kermit, but I don't think with a hop and a leap he's gonna lead us to victory. I'm so sorry.
I you know what Kermit's best role is in an apocalypse scenario? He's our damsel in distress. We're going to address
Oh, so real.
because I love him and I don't want him to be a zombie, but at the same time, he's just not going to be as decisive as we need to be. If you can't handle the Muppet Show, how are you going to handle
It's
the
like
zombie?
everyone I understand is probably picking Kermit because he's a leader. He's the leader
Yeah,
of Muppets. But we need to think about the apocalypse scenario here. I think what Muppets would rise to the occasion? Piggy. I think Sam might rise to the occasion here. I think I think Kermit, they're gonna when the apocalypse hits, they're gonna be in Muppet theater and everyone's gonna be like, oh my God, what do we do? And Kermit's just gonna be like, well, I have no idea. Oh my gosh, I need to figure this out. Piggy would grab him and be like, we're fucking going.
yeah.
Ooh.
Throw him
Come
over.
here, frog. Ooh.
Um, but I do under I
I do understand.
we're not shitting on you if you pick Kermit, but
I was about to
that's
say,
just
I get it. He's the leader.
that's our take on Kermit. Okay, so first submission is from Ribbit Rhett's Muppets, and hello Rhett. Rhett has
Hello, Rhett.
suggested Crazy Harry, Gonzo, Miss Piggy, Bunsen, and Sweetums. I agree with a good chunk of those. Miss Piggy, immediately,
Of
yes.
course,
Crazy
Sweetums.
Harry, we have discussed.
No,
Sweetums,
Crazy Harry.
Sweetums agree. Gonzo, I see Gonzo being of value
Dude,
in an apocalypse. He's a daredevil.
Gonzo would be
Bunsen,
great, I think. I think I should have considered Gonzo more. I think including him in your list is smart here. I think he is the kind of person or thing or whatever that would figure this thing out.
Bunsen without Beaker is a choice.
See, Bunsen, what the thing that worries me about having Bunsen in my group without Beaker is that like Beaker is quite most of the time the lab rat. He's the one
Mm.
that Bunsen is testing these things on. If I don't have Beaker next to me to bear the brunt of Bunsen's abuse, am I going to be the one being tested on? Is someone else in the group going to be? I don't know, because I'm sure he could figure out like something to protect us from the zombies. He could figure out some tools. Like he's very crafty, but I worry about one, his ethics, and two, how he would complete his ethics in a way that would not negatively impact us without Beaker. I
Exactly.
question.
You're taking a risk. If you're putting Bunsen in, then you gotta have the extra. You gotta spend an extra slot on Beaker. It's just makes the whole sort of machine function better.
See,
Next, oh,
I
sorry.
do, I enjoy the idea of Bunsen, but I think that would mean you would have to have a spot for Beaker, and I just don't know if I can afford that.
In an alternate in a B team, not necessarily to say that they even are B. I just prioritize my guys. If we allowed a 10 slot, then Bunsen and Beaker are getting 6 and 7 slot.
Absolutely. And now we got to go into this next one here.
Next one is my lovely pal Mac
What
Mackenzie.e.page.
up?
Mac has said Uncle Traveling Matt, Crazy Harry, Swedish Chef, Sam the Eagle, and who I know is personally their favorite Muppet, Boober Fraggle.
Boober, and they went Boober all caps.
It's true
Okay.
they did do that. Um,
So I also considered Uncle Traveling Matt. Him and Hubba Hubba were my two wild card picks because of their vast knowledge and research on humanity. However, I think Uncle Traveling Matt would just be a little too condescending. I think he'd be a little bit too condescending. I don't know how much I could deal with him just being like, this is that. Hubba Hubba, he'd present this information in such a whimsical way. I think Uncle Traveling Matt would make me feel frustrated
also
throughout
between
the.
Matt and Hubba Hubba, it was a personality hire thing.
Yes, it was.
Okay, that's interesting. I think it's a largely solid rest of the team. Obviously, we have our reservations about Harry, but Swedish Chef I worked for me and
Yeah.
Sam worked for you. I think any Fraggle is a feather in the cap of that
Here's
team.
the thing.
But you got two there, so I think maybe you have something.
I love Boober. I feel like he'd be a little too concerned about laundry. We're like, dude, we gotta leave. There's zombies breaking in. And he's like, well, I gotta finish my laundry. And we're like, Boober.
I'd argue that like to stop you from developing like fungal infection or like swamp foot or something, keeping your clothes clean is a necessity in an apocalypse. So I would argue that Boober's got a
I
function.
would also, to Boober's point, having him and Swedish Chef together, you're eating good in the apocalypse, is the
Mm.
thing.
So I think that's a practical loadout.
The practical loadout. Okay, the next one's coming in from Vinny Muppety Mastermind. Okay, so this is what they did. They did Bunsen and Beaker,
Hmm.
Oscar, Super
Yeah.
Grover, and Miss Piggy. And I appreciate that they didn't do Bunsen and Beaker as one spot. They assessed them as a duo. And
Yeah,
I
they fully
like that
assigned them.
pick because I think there is validity here in putting Bunsen and Beaker as two of your slots. They are a fucking power team.
Absolutely. Kicking myself that I didn't ever consider Super Grover, to be honest, because
Okay.
that's just like, oh, that's a tank.
He can
That's a light
fly.
tank.
But how many times is Grover going to be like, I'm going to solve the situation? And then his like cap will fall over his face and he'll just bash into a wall. Like, love
Oh,
Super
we got
Grover. Love Super Grover. He can fly. I don't know if he's going to get the job done. I don't know.
it's another one of those like how well can we rely on him?
I think Grover himself is probably a little more reliable than Super Grover.
I'm just thinking in terms of like the power potential, like in terms of power scaling, if we're fucking resorting to that
Okay,
now, we're
here's
doing
the
Super
thing.
Grover ranks pretty high up, but you
Super
gotta
Grover with Miss Piggy is an insane power tank team. Like
mm,
those two, the superpowers of Grover with Miss Piggy, two Frank Oz characters, there's
mm.
no stopping them.
They're maximizing their joint Frank Oz slay. Absolutely. So the next one comes from Adrian.yon02, and we got Swedish Chef, Scooter, Big Mean Carl, Rizzo, and again, Bunsen without Beaker, which is a risk.
See, if people want to put Bunsen on their team without Beaker, you can do that. You can see how that works out for you.
Do
But
your very best.
this is the first inclusion of Scooter. And I also considered Scooter on my team because if we're thinking about the Muppets in terms of their characterization, obviously we should look at the entire scale and scope of them. But we have to remember how they've been flanderized. I don't think the representations of Scooter in modern era is how he would be in the apocalypse. The OG Scooter, who's kind of a little bit of a rascal, who gets the job done and always kind of pulls through for his friends. I think he'd be good in the apocalypse. He's a gopher. He'd go get it done.
Oh, so he's the scout.
He's kind of the scout. I think he'd be the scout a little bit.
Oh, I can see that. I can see that.
And Big
So,
Mean Carl's just eating all the zombies. That's a
Big
good
Mean, I was gonna say, Big Mean Carl is a potential liability because you've got to keep an eye on your rations,
choice.
especially if it's Chef and
True.
Carl combo. You just, as long as you're careful, that could work out for you, but just be careful.
I think Swedish Chef could keep Big Mean Carl in line by just bashing them.
Hmm.
British man.
Oh, we got our first cheater.
Who's the cheater?
Lilia, Mopey
Lilia!
Dreamer. We got Animal, Crazy Harry, Miss Piggy, Sweetums, Bunsen and Beaker. That is, I count six Muppets,
I
Lilia.
can't really count that well, but that looks like it might be six. I don't
I'm
know.
gonna entertain it as a possibility, but just
We'll
know
let this one slide on
you're
this
getting a
stupid house.
demerit. We're not gonna like not discuss anybody who put six, but just know the I think what we're planning to do is something a little bit we're gonna do an interactive like story template thing when this episode drops. So be ready for that. But just know you gotta pick five. You can't have six.
But they
Um,
have some good picks.
I was gonna say it's largely good picks. We have our Crazy Harry reservations, but this is actually a pretty solid team outside of that. Piggy and Sweetums, like that's me. Um, Animal is one of your picks. Like, yeah, Bunsen and Beaker as a duo is good, but you gotta sacrifice one of them. I would recommend
Harry.
do away with Harry, and you've got like a
I was about to
golden team
say,
right there.
you get rid of Harry. This is like a perfect team. Animal in Sweetums to fuck people up. Piggy as like the leader, and Bunsen and Beaker trying to solve and cure the virus. Kind of have a solid team right there.
Hmm.
Okay,
Next one is my buddy Bernie, Harl's Devil. Not a Muppet poster, but a Muppet enthusiast. We got Kermit, Gonzo, Big Bird, and then here we go. They've done it smart. The last two slots are for Honeydew and Beaker. Again, Honeydew and Beaker as a two, where you're not counting them as one, they take up two slots. That's like, ooh, you're gonna
okay.
have some trouble if you're going up against those two.
I have something to say because Big Bird was someone that I considered, but I'm Big Bird's my favorite Muppet. I am a passionate Big Bird enjoyer. I think Big Bird is incredible. But I think Big Bird is not surviving the apocalypse, unfortunately. We got to remember that he is a soft, kind soul. Yes, he's roller skated around China by himself. Yes, he's stood on the rooftop at Christmas time and almost died of hypothermia. He's a resilient bird. However, Big Bird, I love Big Bird, but dude, he's not surviving the apocalypse. That man, Big Bird, I'm sorry.
You know what Big Bird did? Big Bird held up like a big barrier when the initial outbreak happened so that everybody else in Sesame Street could make it out. Big Bird.
Exactly. And then there's that scene in the apocalypse where Gordon is being dragged away by Maria, and he's like, Big Bird, we gotta go back for him. It's too late, Gordon. He sacrificed himself for us. That is what would happen. Big
It's
Bird,
it's
he's
making me
not
a little
killing
upset.
anyone. I'm
It's
sorry,
making
he's
me
not killing anyone.
it's genuinely making me a little bit upset thinking about it. So I
No,
want to move on from this.
we need to
I
move on.
don't
I'm sorry. It's just Big Bird. I love him. I just don't think he has it in him. I don't want to see Big Bird do killing. And I think he doesn't have it in him to kill.
he's got too good a soul. Also, day one, he's going out.
Oh, poor Big
I
Bird.
made
He is
myself
big, but
miserable.
he's quite soft.
This sucks. Why do we do
This sucks.
this? Okay. Next one is the lovers, the dreamers, and pins. A fellow UK Muppet poster. We got our Gonzo, Kermit, Swedish Chef, Bunsen and Beaker all have beneficial strengths, and I would argue that that is true.
Yeah,
I think
this is a solid team.
some more than others, as we have discussed. I think Kermit's got some like potential physical deficiencies as opposed to others, but I think that's largely a pretty good team.
On a team with Gonzo and Bunsen and Beaker, I think Kermit would be a good leader. I think they would listen to him, and I think he wouldn't have to do that much rallying. Also, I here's the thing, and a lot of these teams that are very like this is a good strategic team. I'm not like being like this is a bad team. I
Hmm.
like this team. I think uh there needs to be I think a lot of these teams are forgetting that a lot of these Muppets are not tank Muppets. I
Hmm.
think you need a Muppet that like can really fuck up some zombies. And I worry that Swedish Chef would have to bear the brunt of that, or like a lot of the teams. Um, yeah, I'm a little. I need some heavy Muppet tanking.
Hmm. You need some muscle. You got to think about it in terms of a loadout for like an RPG or something.
I'm thinking we need some. If we're thinking beakers, we need some muscular, very Muppet Christmas movie beakers.
Um, This next one comes from my buddy Kit. My buddy Kit, they have done a little bit extra for us. They've also made a list of all of the Muppets that they wouldn't trust.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
so in terms of the Muppets that they wouldn't trust, because they would leave her for dead or die, Rizzo, Bunsen, Fozzie, Chip, and then Chip again because Kit really fucking hates Chip.
Okay, I agree. I also don't like Chip. I would never
Um,
include Chip on my team.
no, Chip is zombie food, day one.
Here's the thing. I agree. I like that they also had some hesitancy around Bunsen. I agree that Bunsen without Beaker is I couldn't do it. But I also Fozzie was not on any of my even in my consideration because like I love Fozzie, dude. Fozzie is getting us killed.
I was gonna say
Fozzie
Fozzie's fucking knocking something over and like
is like
blowing up camp.
we need to stay quiet, and Fozzie is like, well, too bad I wore my fart shoes, and we're like, oh fuck. Like and people would be like, oh, the argument towards Fozzie is probably entertainment, keeping some sense of like levity. He's not that like I don't think we would survive months and months of Fozzie jokes in the apocalypse.
Yeah, just not happening.
So
Um, in
we need
terms
to
of uh the team, we've got Miss Piggy, Kermit, Animal, Uncle Deadly, and Janice. She's listed her reasons, but just for fairness's sake, I'm not going to talk about them because nobody else has got to talk about their reasons. But based on what they've listed, I think that they've got a pretty solid team on their hands.
see. I think Uncle Deadly with Piggy is a good call. I think
Hmm.
Deadly is quite loyal to Piggy. I think those two divas in the apocalypse, they would have no problem. I think Janice, I think she's wouldn't have as much of an ability to like kill and shit, but you need someone who is like grounding you. And I think with Janice is that okay. I don't know if this is the move for everybody, but in the horrors of the zombie apocalypse, you need someone who can find those magic mushrooms, and Janice is the person who could forage for those. And so I like this pick
For morale.
for morale. Kermit and Piggy together, I think they would fight, but they would ultimately take out a lot of zombies together. They would fight,
Absolutely.
but they have the best rapport. I'm surprised not a lot of people did Piggy and Kermit together,
True.
which I
True.
think they would be really good as a team.
Well, next team has got Kermit and Piggy together. This is our lovely Michaela McMups. We've got Scooter, Ralph, Piggy, Kermit, and the genuinely genius New Zealand because of the endless food supply of fish.
Like
That
I know
never
we
entered
were
my mind.
we weren't saying everyone's reasons, but Michaela's we kind of have to here. Lou
Mm.
having an endless supply of fish. I know you'd think to yourself, well, he's going to throw them, he's going to boomerang them. Two things. One, he never runs out. When has Lou run out of fish? Yeah, he can throw as many fish as he wants because we're always going to have some. And two, those fish, if they're not strong enough to slice some zombies, they'll at least be a distraction. I think Lou, he'll get a little annoying, but you're going to eat good and
Mm.
you're gonna have a lot of you're gonna have a lot of fish being thrown at zombies, which I think
Zombie
could
apocalypse, Branzino every night.
be everybody
Um,
is starving except for your group because you're eating fucking an endless supply of boomerang fish.
Incredible. We're gonna rattle through this last chunk that we got, just so we don't take up an immense amount of time. Muppet Becca has said Miss Piggy, Bunsen and Beaker, Uncle Deadly, and Kermit. These are all like ones that we have. Like
Yeah, this is a
we've
good
made clear
team.
that's a great all-rounder team. You've got the partnerships that you need. Like,
Piggy can fuck people up. I think, yeah, it's good strat. Kermit, it can. This is good leadership. I think Kermit can pull this group together. I think our group. I think we had the most just like wild card groups for a lot of
hmm.
these. That like,
Yeah,
I
I
think
feel now
Kermit
I
would.
feel like a crazy person because we've
Yeah,
had some batshit
same.
picks.
Yeah, say LaChoy Dragon and Hubba Hubba, and everyone's just like, "Yep, Kermit."
Jesus.
Fucking Christ. But
Davis has suggested Sweetums, Swedish Chef, Rizzo, Animal, and Crazy Harry. Again, that's four picks. That we got two picks from us each, and then our veto. So you're on a mixed bag there, Davis.
so I think this team, I think a lot of these boil down to us just being like, yeah, great team, except for Quasi freaking Harry,
Yeah, it's like great team. No Harrys.
in our opinion.
Broken Glass 2834 says Animal, Sweetums, Miss Piggy, Bunsen, and Kermit. Again, Bunsen without Beaker. Controversial.
See, I think we've already outlined our Bunsen without Beaker stipulations here, but I like the rest of this. Animal and Sweetums, I wanted to do that in my group. I think the two of them combined, you would get so much survival. Like you would just destroy the zombies.
That's fully my bad. I'm sorry.
I mean, we got Hubba Hubba. He's bouncing around.
Last few now. Up next is Muppet Record Club that says Sweetums, Beanbo. I'm
I'm,
assuming that means Bean Bunny.
I'm assuming Bean Bunny.
Bean Bunny is an interesting pick for the apocalypse. Bless your heart. What the fuck is he gonna do? Carol at them? Shoot them to death? We got
Dude,
Sweetums, Bean Bunny, Dr. Bob, which that's a pretty smart one. You need a medic.
I was about to say, and he's Dr. Bob. Do you think he could only
But
work on
how
silly
competent is
puppetry?
Dr. Bob as a medic? Have we actually seen him successfully perform a
I don't think
procedure?
I've ever seen Dr. Bob do gruesome surgery before.
Crazy Harry vetoed at Bunsen and Beaker. They're a package that you don't get to put Bunsen and Beaker as one. Muppet Record Club's
I gotta choose
cheating.
one. Also, okay, Bean Bunny, unless you're sacrificing him as a distraction, I don't
Yeah.
think he's doing anything for the group.
Or
I'm so
unless you've like tied his ankle to like a rope and you're like swinging him around and using him as a weapon. Like, what are you bringing Bean along for?
See, Bean, oh my God. Bean, unless you're using him as like a carrot on a stick for Sweetums to just like fuck everything up, Bean Bunny has no. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Bean Bunny is dead.
No attack stats.
Okay.
Cass Happel Art says Kermit, Gonzo, Animal, Janice, and Bunsen. Largely good team. Bunsen without Beaker. Again, interesting.
I
Interesting,
also
interesting,
think
interesting.
this is a good team that just needs, we could get a six, if there was a hypothetical six pick, we could get a tank in there, and that's surviving the apocalypse.
Absolutely. Again, it's not that there's anything like wrong with these teams.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
just that like there's always room for improvement.
Also, we have a very specific way of thinking about this shit
Yeah,
that
this is
like you could
completely
totally
subjective.
disagree with us. You could absolutely be like, you could totally think our reasoning is bad, but like
These
we have like a yeah, this is what makes sense to us.
these are not right answers or wrong answers.
Exactly.
Next, we got Kermit and Miss Piggy, good duo. Bunsen on his own, risky. Rizzo, good. One of the mutations is interesting because I
One of
feel
the
like, you know what? I
patients,
reckon those guys are actually like under those tuxes. They're buff. I think they've got a sleeper build. I think
dude,
that's a like a mini tank right there.
I appreciate Kavan here doing a like kind of out there pick like
Hmm.
that. And it
Makes me
makes me
feel
feel
less bad about the LaChoy Dragon.
it makes me feel a little less bad about Hubba Hubba. And so
Yeah.
I think there's some argument that one of the mutations could be fucking pretty killer here.
Next up is Megan Malone's Pops. Hey Diva.
Hey
We
Diva.
got Kermit, first instance of Pepe. First instance of Pepe.
First Pepe.
Kermit, Pepe, Miss Piggy. You got the Kermiggy there. Crazy Harry, interesting. And Bunsen, interesting. I think Megan's got probably our most controversial team
I
so
think
far.
so.
You
I
got the
think this is
Bunsen without
fun.
Beaker. You got the Crazy Harry and Pepe. Do you
See,
think Pepe would add
Pepe
like a
is such
Rizzo type role?
I think Pepe for me, I was hesitant to put him on my list because like I think Rizzo is a really scheming guy who has a track record of getting shit done. I think Pepe is just more of like a fun sidekick. I don't know how much that he would get me. I don't know much how, unless we end up eating him in the end, I don't know how much we're surviving with Pepe.
It just seems like he'd sell us out.
I think so. I think Pepe's selling us down the river for a few bucks.
Yeah, for 62 cents.
Here's the
I
thing,
think
though.
Megan's perhaps our most that's our most controversial pick so far. That's our most like, ooh, we're
We,
gonna we're talking about this later, Megan.
Megan,
Um
we love you. We're talking about this one later.
and our very last one, we've got Blips and Chits for Miss Piggy, Animal, Statler and Waldorf, and Crazy Harry. Statler and Waldorf in an apocalypse is
Here's the
interesting.
Statler and Waldorf, they're hilarious. They are some Muppets that I adore, but they're dying.
They're
They're gonna go out with Fozzie. They're
you
gonna
know
drag Fozzie down with them
you
in
know what
their.
they are? They're comical zombies. They're zombies, but they still have enough cognition to heckle you while they're zombies.
That's exactly it. They're gonna be zombies, but you're gonna be like, ah, they made fun of that bear while they were trying to eat him.
What an interesting like round of teams. I feel like there is an interesting amount of variation here. I don't know how many of us are surviving the apocalypse,
Here's the
but
thing, we could be entirely wrong on what will work here if the Muppet zombie Muppocalypse happens. I think any one of these teams has some validity in withstanding the hordes of zombies. Whether it's Kermit, whether it's Bunsen without Beaker, I don't know who's surviving, but I do know the LaChoy Dragon is in the end 100%.
I do have a certain amount of like the it's not happening right now. We're not facing a apocalypse right now, and so I can rest easy knowing that. And I hope that you can all rest easy as we say goodbye to this episode of A Muppet Moment. Thanks everybody who submitted your Muppet Apocalypse team. This was so fun to sift through. And thank you, Max, for humoring me and my LaChoy Dragon decisions.
Google Doop Tiddly Peeps, Hubba Hubba was my greatest answer. I appreciate you guys all for tuning in and submitting your answers to our question. Thank you for engaging with us, and thank you for watching another episode of A Muppet Moment, guys. Thank you.
Love you guys, and we will see you next time.
See you
Bye
later.
bye.